Minuto numero 43 of the Godfather Minutes. Hello, my name is Alex Robinson.
And I'm Andy Robinson.
And together we are the Godfather Minute. We go through the entire Godfather movie 1 minute at a time, in order. And yes, that's it. That's pretty much all you need to know going in.
Less is more.
So let's just dive right in. We were discussing minute 44. Double fours.
I do got to go back and give you the true proper Italian lesson.
Okay.
I appreciate your taking the ball and running with it, but let's get it right. E minuto numero 44.
Quattro. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
44. 44.
You got it.
Minuto. I can't do the first part. Minuto numero 40. Gosh, I have the memory of a goldfish.
Do goldfish not have good memories?
That's the...
Is that a saying?
Yeah.
Oh, never heard that before. Never heard it.
Yeah, supposedly every 30 seconds their memory resets itself.
No
I mean,
way.
in terms of little details. But
wow. I didn't know that.
I'm not sure whether it's actually true or not. I remember seeing a video where they put goldfish through mazes to see how they could do it.
No way.
And I don't remember what the outcome was. So anyway, go on YouTube, check that out, everybody.
I wonder if they were in a different environment, would their memories be better? Or is it because they're just doing laps around the same environment? I mean, you'd forget stuff too. If every 15 seconds you saw the same.
They're just bored and depressed, the goldfish. Oh, man.
Let's not go there.
Okay. Let's talk about minuto numero 44. 44.
You got it.
All right. It's we're in the middle of we're not in the middle of the Luca Brazzi confrontation. The minute starts off with the Turk offering Luca 50,000 to start with. That's just to start.
That's just to start with. And how much was his gun license? That's the first thing I thought of.
Did we ever get an exact figure?
Yeah, we figured it out. It was, oh boy, you're gonna make me go back and listen. Was it? It was around. It was around there. It was actually around there. It was.
So basically, he's saying we'll cover your gun license as like a credit that's going to help to benefit, health insurance, and we'll pay for your license.
We'll pay for licensing, gun license fee. We'll pay for your uniform.
Yeah, all the fish you can sleep with. What? Nothing.
The gun license costs $10,000.
$10,000. So he has $40,000 pure profit, and that's just to start with.
Well, no, I think Sollozzo wants him to carry 4 other guns.
Oh, wow. So he really has to do 4 times as much work. So when he says 50,000 to start with, is that like a year, or is that like per gig?
Gosh, I don't know. And I don't think there was clarity in the book about that. But that seems like a lot of money.
I looked it up on the internet. And do you want to guess how much $50,000 to start is in 2018 money?
Now?
Yeah.
You mean how much it is now?
When we're recording. Someone might be listening to this in 2050.
So you want it in dollars, in Bitcoin, or Ethereum?
I want it in American gold-backed dollars.
Let's see, 50 grand small bills cash in 1945? Is that what we're at?
I like how you want the specific year, because if it was 44, it'd be totally different.
There's a big fluctuation at the beginning of the post-war.
It's true. The war and everything.
It's like post-war scotch. Sure. You had your fluctuations. Or let's see, I'm going to guess 400 grand.
$692,000, 483 cents.
That's a lot of small bills cash.
There's a lot of money in that inflation pop. So that's a pretty good opening offer for a job.
Yeah.
Do you think Luca makes that much with the Don?
Well, he definitely doesn't flinch when you hear when Sollozzo offers him that to start. Nothing.
What does he do with all his money? If he lives we already established that he lives in the back room of in a tiny tenement house. So that his kind of distant family shares. So he's probably not paying a ton. Yeah, maybe just contributing for food and stuff.
Well, I think he pays his rent in olive oil. We established that, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
I don't know what he does with it. I mean, do they even bank it? Do they launder it back in those days? Or do they just keep it cash somewhere?
That's a good question.
We asked.
You asked. We asked. We're gonna answer that one. Yeah.
Let me
write that down so I don't.
But
forget.
that does seem like a lot of money for an opening offer.
That does. Maybe.
But then again, this is the world of drugs. And Sollozzo, when he met with Don Corleone, he talked about how much money they would make. And if you remember, Sollozzo said that Don Corleone would make $1 million in the first year, I think. No. He said, I need $1 million in finance.
He'll guarantee it.
Yeah. But then Sollozzo is impressed that, that's right, because that's $1 million in 1945.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that ain't no 10 or 50 grand.
Yeah, I should have looked that up because full figure if how many times does 50,000 go into $1 million?
50 times. Well, so he offered him 50,000, and that's worth how much? About 700,000.
700,000.
So that's 14 times.
So that would be what's 14 times
$1 million? 14 million.
14 million. Whoa. Wow! If that's just starting money, then
te saludo.
Minuto número 44. What was the thing we were going to ask and answer? What did gangsters do with their money?
Yes. What did they do with it? Did they launder it?
Yeah.
Or did they keep it in small bills cash?
I think they do online gambling. That's what they.
A lot of money in that online internet gambling back then.
Is that legal now?
It's legal in some. It's been legal in some states. I know New Jersey online poker is legal, but the Supreme Court decision just came down that it said that the federal government could not restrict states from offering
sports betting.
Yeah. So there's still a lot of speculation about what that's going to look like in many states.
I heard that was a big. It was a big deal because.
Big deal.
Because the Supreme Court was hearing a lot of cases that day, and they saved the gambling for last. Thank you.
Well, it took them a while to hear that case too.
Oh yeah, why?
They left the lawyers waiting in the lobby. Oh no, that was no sports gambling. I do a terrible Frankie. I gotta work on it.
Well, you have 2.5 years, so
not really. Every week we talk about.
That's true. Until he hasn't shown up.
I got 6 more days.
We've talked about him more than we've talked about like a lot of other characters who have played.
These Rosado brothers, they're taking hostages. That's when he's all calm and they're kind of resigned.
I think we have to really like smoke a lot, and then by the end of the show, our voice will have a nice gravelly quality. Man, I wish I had a raspy voice. I shouldn't say that because then I'm gonna have I'm gonna get like throat cancer. My wish has finally come true. Do I sound?
Do you really wish you had a more unique voice? I think your voice is unique, but that's because you're my brother, and I always recognize you.
Yeah.
But do you feel like your voice is very different from other people?
Not particularly different, but that's I don't know. I just think I wish I had a deeper, gravelier voice because that's generally a good.
Yeah,
it's an impressive voice.
Yeah. Well, if you could choose, our
Tom Waits.
I was just going to ask you if you could pick. You would want to sound like Tom Waits, not singing voice, but speaking voice.
Yeah, it's Tom Waits. It's probably very close to the same.
Is it?
Well, Tom Waits doesn't really, his voice is very. Anyway, yeah, I would say Tom Waits.
You'd pick Tom Waits. I never really thought about
who'd you pick.
I don't know. I'm going to think about that.
All right, we asked. You'll answer.
Maybe Marlon Brando.
Well, you can sound like him anytime you want to.
Yeah, but I don't want to have to try.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a Twilight Zone. I wake up and I've been pretending to speak like Don Corleone. One day I wake up and that's my voice permanently.
like mom always used to warn us. Like if you keep doing that voice, you're gonna get stuck that way.
Yeah, and someone slaps you in the back of the head while you're speaking that way.
Oh my god! I can't stop talking like that.
Why'd you slap me in the back of the head? What are you getting stupid? Not only do you sound like him, but you use all his lines.
You can only speak in dialogue from The Godfather.
That would be, just not his lines, but in all the movies, the only dialogue you can use is dialogue chosen that has been spoken in all 3 Godfathers by any character.
Wow, that broadens it up. It's a good thing they're long movies, too.
Yeah.
I once thought about having a character in a story who only spoke in song quotes.
Oh, funny.
So every line this character said would be a line from a song. So you could kind of play the game of trying to figure out what song
that's
it was.
funny.
But
That's cool.
It was too hard to pull
Yeah,
off.
that is hard.
Anyway, so the Turk offers Luca a hand of friendship, which Luca
right.
does not shake.
Yep.
I guess is that the same thing as the pre-war Scotch? Does he see a handshake as like, if I accept this, that's the terms and conditions? You know what I mean? That's like the equivalent of checking the box.
I think it is. Back then, and probably in the mob, if you shook your hand, you were giving, that was your word. And so I think he's probably thinking it over. I don't know if Sollozzo, was that the right move for Sollozzo to put out his hand? Or should he have waited for Luca to put his hand out saying, yes, I accept, and then Sollozzo? Because if not, because if Luca needed more time to think about it, then he leaves Sollozzo hanging, which is kind of disrespectful.
Right,
And it's
that's
embarrassing.
Well, maybe he really did. Maybe from the start he was, because obviously when very shortly we see Bruno Tattaglia like patting his hand very gently. So maybe that just reaching and grab his hand, they were just going to stab him right there. And then when he didn't do it, they're like, okay, now we gotta keep the wheels going instead of just doing it right there.
But he doesn't accept his handshake, and instead he takes out a cigarette.
Yes.
Right?
Which then Bruno Tattaglia does not do a magic trick and pull it out of his sleeve or out of Luca's ear. That would have been awesome. He was like a lit match and pulled out of his ear.
He pulls the $50,000 out of Luca's coat. He's like, oh, wait, we got a frisky. He's like, what is this?
Whoa, how did you do that?
Card manipulator. Well, he is a lighter manipulator. He lights a cigarette.
And then we get our first murder in the movie.
Murder.
Yeah, so we see the I love that motion of him patting his hand and nodding, because it's such a weird thing to do. Like,
definitely.
I guess, and also it's such a tender gesture that it's immediately followed by the knife. I guess it almost makes you suspicious, because you're like, why would a gangster be gently patting the hand of another gangster? It seems weird.
I mean, what do you think Luca was thinking at that moment? Clearly, he's caught by surprise with this whole murder. But when he starts patting his hand, I mean, he's still just smoking his cigarette.
I think as soon as he didn't take the scotch, the pre-war scotch, he was instantly like, oh, I should have taken the scotch. Why didn't I take the scotch? And he was just so distracted. Next chance, I'm going to say, hey, can I have some of that scotch? I changed my mind. Can I have some scotch? And then he never got to do it.
That's how they got the jump on him. They created as many distractions. They had music playing in the background.
Look, see if you can do this math problem.
Bruno with his left hand, we don't see it because it's off camera, doing card tricks.
He's like mesmerized.
He's like Luca's like a chicken. If you draw a line in the sand, they pass out right in front of them. Like the goldfish. He's like a goldfish.
Yes, a goldfish. Well, he does look like a goldfish very shortly because his eyeballs bulge out of his head. But we'll get to that. Get to that. So then the Turk, which I didn't piece it together until watching for this minute. We see him get to use a knife.
He's good with a knife.
I never pieced that together, that he uses a knife here and that it was kind of set up already that he was good with a knife. That was awesome.
You know, so the Turk stabs, so Bruno grabs his left hand, the Turk stabs him in the right hand. So now both his hands are stuck to the bar.
Yeah.
And then a third guy comes out and garrots him.
Yeah.
It's too bad he didn't have that great, remember the invention you had, the steel pipe in his throat? But so when Sollozzo stabbed his right hand, it made me wonder, did Tom and Don Corleone talk to Luca about Sollozzo's dossier like Tom had shared with Sonny and Don Corleone? Like, did Luca know he was good with a knife? He lived in Turkey. He had a family there. Did he get the same information?
I'm gonna say no, because I don't think Tom was in on it. Because he remember Tom had left the meeting when he said, tell Luca to come in here.
Yeah.
And then later on, Tom says, oh, once Luca Brasi hears, I can talk to Sonny, but you're not going to be able to hold back Luca Brasi.
Yeah.
It's not like he really does, as far as he knows, Luca, although that doesn't necessarily have to do with him getting briefed. He probably gave him a little bit of briefing.
Maybe, yeah. Because the whole point is for him to get close to Sollozzo so he can learn about what his thoughts were about his operation, what his plan was.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I originally thought Don Corleone left Hagen out of it because he didn't want Hagen to know for legal reasons, but there'd be client. What is it? A client?
Yeah, he'd have to show cause.
Confidentiality, right?
Attorney client privilege.
Yeah. But I guess if Hagen talks to Luca, it's not like Luca's his client.
Yeah.
Maybe he is. Do you think Hagen does legal work for Luca Brasi?
Well, he helped him fill out the gun license.
Tom Hagen, I need to draft a will. Will you help me?
I have all this cash I don't know what to do with. He's got piles of money from all the... So then they stab him in the hand. He holds his other hand.
They grab his hand, stab him.
And then a guy just steps out of the darkness who was identified in the script as Strangler.
Oh,
that's his total name. Wow. I played Strangler in The Godfather.
Yeah, that's great.
And so I'm suspicious about Luca's efficiency as a killer. You'd think someone in Luca's position, I mean, he's been an enforcer for all these years now. He managed to sneak into someone's house, cut the horse's head off, bring the horse's head into the bedroom and leave without being detected. He should be like more, observant.
Yeah, smoother.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess the Don's getting soft.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see the guy's face too. He's
a strangler.
The strangler is gritting his teeth, definitely using force because he's a big guy. Go ahead.
I learned about so they start garroting him and his eyeballs pop out of his head. And so apparently, Coppola looked into what happens when someone's strangled and whatnot, and they were like, it's.
I've got stuff from the book about that too.
Oh, okay. Well, so anyway, this is in the making of the movie. They couldn't figure out a way to get him to turn all colors and his eyeballs pop out of his head and stuff, but. The actor Lenny Montana used to be a professional wrestler.
No way.
And so he basically was just doing that by holding his breath and straining to make his from his wrestling acting.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Yeah, because it does turn purple, doesn't it?
Yeah, so that's totally just his stopping his own blood flow. I guess
he definitely looks like what's the wrestler, the bald guy who was in Ed Wood?
George the Animal Steel.
He totally looks like George the Animal Steel there.
So, so you said you had something from the book.
Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff in the book about, actually, I think I'm just going to straight up read this passage from the book because it's basically Luca's death scene. Mm-hmm. You ready?
Yep.
Dun, 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 dun. The cord pulled tight, choking off Luca's breath. His face became purple. The strength in his arms drained away. Tattaglia and Sollozzo held his hands easily now, and they stood there curiously childlike as the man behind Luca pulled the cord around Luca's neck tighter and tighter. Suddenly, the floor was wet and slippery.
Oh.
Luca's sphincter, no longer under control, opened. The waste of his body spilled out.
Oh. I do not want to eat in that restaurant.
Do you want me to keep reading?
Of course, you can't stop there.
All right, let me just go back a line so we get into the flow of it. Suddenly, the floor was wet and slippery. Luca's sphincter, no longer under control, opened. The waste of his body spilled out. There was no strength in him anymore, and his legs folded, his body sagged. Sollozzo and Tattaglia let his hands go, and only the strangler stayed with the victim, sinking to his knees to follow Luca's falling body, drawing the cord so tight that it cut into the flesh of the neck and disappeared. Oh, he couldn't even see it. It was buried in his neck. Luca's eyes were bulging out of his head as if in the utmost surprise, and this surprise was the only humanity remaining to him. He was dead.
Whoa. That's the first death. We're going to keep a running tally of everyone we see die. We see die in the movie.
Boy. Isn't that gnarly, though?
Yeah.
Speaking of sphincter, Alex, I have a question. Where did Luca Brasi have dinner this evening?
Where did he have dinner?
Yeah, before this meeting. Because remember, this meeting's at 4 a.m.
Dempsey's?
Nope.
No, I give up. What?
Patsy's on 48th Street.
I would swear I was just going to say Patsy's.
I believe it. It was mentioned somewhere, wasn't it? Or is that an old restaurant that maybe still there?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because Dempsey's is that where they picked up Michael?
Yeah, that's where they pick him up in front of Dempsey's.
Yeah, Patsy's on 48th Street, and it was Luca's favorite Italian restaurant.
Do you think that they should put assuming the restaurant is still there, they should put up a plaque saying Luca Brazzi's last meal was eaten here in 1945?
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
Right before he emptied his sphincter.
Well, when we go on our New York Godfather tour, we'll definitely go there, or at least to whatever's there now. But actually, just to remind you, Alex, there isn't even a plaque.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So going back to the murder of Luca Brazzi,
Yes.
one guy's Bruno's holding his hand.
Mm-hmm.
The Turk with very quick motion stabs his other hand,
Give
and
it a
the
knife.
third guy garrots him.
Uh-huh.
If you had to be one of those three guys, who would you? If you needed to be one, who would you be?
What would you do? What would you do? What would you do?
In a weird way, I guess I would say the garrotter. I would say the strangler.
How come?
Well, because although you wind up getting poop on you.
Well, he didn't know that.
Well, if he's strangled people before, he must. That's an occupational
true.
hazard. He
Oh,
probably
and he-
wears cheap shoes.
Oh, and he just ate at Patsy's. It's all like spaghetti and marinara sauce.
So here's why: because it's almost like he's not facing you,
Yeah.
so you can almost like convince yourself like it's not like
Yeah.
you're just pulling on a string. It has nothing to do with, but the other guys are like
But then
looking
you're-
at him and seeing those bulging eyes popping
That's
out. at
true.
him.
That's a little hard. But it's probably a harder job because you're the last. It's riskier, I think.
Yeah.
Like Bruno's just holding his hand on the other side of the bar.
See, that to me seems like the worst.
Holding his hand.
Yeah, because you're participating in the murder, but you're not actually doing it. You're just kind of like you're not being proactive. You're just like, oh, okay. Like,
So you're looking at this from which person is contributing the most?
if I'm going to participate in a murder, and if I'm going to go to jail for murder, I want to be the one who does the murder.
Oh, got it.
You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
I don't want to be getting an observer
Yeah,
who just gets
no.
the life sentence.
You get a life sense. Like I was just holding his hand.
I offered him scotch. It was pre-war.
Yeah. That's when you're handcuffed and they're leading you out of the court. It was pre-war scotch. I lit a cigarette.
Pre-war scotch. Mama.
I don't know. The Turk's move is pretty badass.
The Turk's move is pretty cool.
And once it's done, so one, you're using your skill that you've honed for decades.
If you're the Turk or the
Yeah,
or
if you're the
strangler?
Turk.
Yeah.
And then two, boom, you do it. It's done. You kind of just sit back. You may even take a sip of that pre-war scotch. And you just let the other guys do their thing.
Yeah.
Whereas both the two remaining guys have to continue working.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think the Turk holds the knife. I think he just slams it down.
And then lets it go.
Maybe.
I guess Luca didn't think to pull his hand up,
Over them through the knife.
or he pulls it out and the knife is still in his palm, and he uses it like a weapon. One ironic thing is that the last thing Luca does before he chokes to death is light up a cigarette. So it's like a subtle anti-smoking message that he lights up a cigarette that immediately suffocates. But also, I really love the shot. I don't think we give the cinematography enough credit in this movie, but there's the shot where Luca's being strangled and he's like slowly going down, and you see, I guess it's the shadow of the Turk's shoulder is like in the foreground, and Luca is behind him, and he's going down, and it's shot just in such a perfect way where his eyeball, like he maintains eye contact with the camera like the whole time he's going down. And it's just such a nice little detail that you really see him sinking till it, and he like disappears more and more into the blackness except for his eye. Like it's a really great,
It's so
great composition there.
Yeah, and there's just the shadows and the dark wood from the dark bar.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a great shot. I think it's interesting how Luca Brazzi seemed to be this indestructible character introduced early, and Coppola had written in his production notes that he wanted to mislead the audience. Coppola wrote, Luca Brazzi, mislead the audience with him, make them feel that he will figure importantly in the plot.
Yeah.
But boom, gone.
Right,
First
yeah.
down.
Yeah. It's a good setup. Another funny thing is that Luca's last words,
Oh gosh.
not bad. So it almost sounds like if your last words were not bad, it makes it sound like he died like on his deathbed. He was looking back at his life and being, you know what, not bad.
Yeah. Do you think Luca, as he was thinking and maybe starting to accept his death, there is one 2-second period where he shimmies left and right, so he's fighting it.
Yeah.
But at some point, he must accept it. Do you think he's having any regrets?
No regrets.
Really?
Luca Brasi, no regrets. What do you think are the nature of his regrets?
I don't know. You can never really predict what a man's going to be feeling, thinking
true.
as he's dying. Maybe he's a little worried, maybe not worried, but I wonder if he was Catholic. I know he did all this murder, but maybe in some weird way he justified it. And oh no, I'm sorry. In the book, he said he did not even fear God.
Oh, right. Because he was
That's
like a
right.
total sociopath, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to start listing regrets, but that just reminded me that no, he probably doesn't have
Yeah.
any regrets.
Yeah. The regrets of Luca Brasi. They find his journal.
He's a sensitive poet guy.
Well, we know he's a Scotch
Yeah.
connoisseur from our last episode.
You know, no one ever goes to their deathbed saying, I wish I'd spent more time strangling people. Yeah, who knows? Maybe there was some, as I say, some woman he liked that he never got to, to
Yeah.
talk to, but
Connie, maybe?
I guess so.
Maybe
but-
he was hoping that he would be the one to have an arranged marriage with Connie and not Carlo.
That's why he was hoping Carlo was going to. That'd be great if Luca set up Carlo to make it look like he was working with Barzini,
Oh.
so that he could clear the way for Connie.
I thought you were going to say that he beat up
Connie Brasi.
I thought you were going to say he beat up Connie, but Connie was too scared to say that it was Luca Brasi, and so lied and said it was Carlo.
I think Luca beat up Connie wearing a Carlo disguise. It's me, Carlo.
It's me, Carlo. Clean it up. Clean it up.
I'm innocent.
Well, if Luca had lived, it makes you wonder what role he would have played in the remaining movies. I mean, he wouldn't have had to. The story's great, don't get me wrong, but he didn't have to die, did he? Because if he had lived, if Sollozzo had never gone after him, then...
Are you talking about if he had never gone undercover, or if
if he had never gone undercover, and
Yeah.
Sollozzo tries to kill Don Corleone, and now Sollozzo is the hunted one, then Luca Brasi would still be hunting Sollozzo like all the other members of the Corleone family.
right? No matter what, even if Sonny said don't get him because
can't call off Luca
you won't be able
Brasi.
to call off Luca Brasi. I'm going to guess that he probably would have died during the mattress wars. Because that seems like a lot of people got killed in that, and that would have been
Yeah.
a good opportunity to do that.
Remember in the mattress wars, the montage, you see one guy, it's Clemenza sleeping on the bed in his like t-shirt, suspenders. It's kind of like Luca Brasi, just all crashed out.
Little sneak preview, that montage edited by George Lucas.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
George Lucas pitched in to help his old friend, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
On. We'll get to that. We should do a montage countdown.
Oh, yeah. Did we ever figure out the next countdown?
Oh, you know what? You asked, I will look it up and I will reveal the answer. Although I think
We talked about it in a previous minute, but there were only 10 people at that point. So we were encouraging more people to go and vote.
Okay, let me.
We didn't feel like 10 was a big enough sample size.
Yeah, let me write that down. So we asked, we will
Good
answer. Well, that's all I have for minute 44.
That's all I have, too. Luca goes down.
Yeah, ends up with a close up of the knife stuck in his hand as
Yeah.
he slumps to the floor.
Yeah. You think that's the knife that the Turk's been using? Same knife?
We think he has one knife that.
I'm guessing people who get good with knives are superstitious about their knife. Like, this is my lucky knife. This is one I've had. And I guess using a knife is challenging. And so you get the feel of one knife in particular, the weight, how you can manipulate it, throw it.
Although he probably has different knives for different jobs too.
What do you mean?
Like he probably has one, like he arrives at a place and unfolds like a piece of cloth, and there's like
What is he selling them?
maybe on the side,
That'd be great. Luca walks up to the bar. He's like, I think you know why I asked you here. He opens them up. I've got these knives.
Cut
from
this
Sicily.
tin can in half. Watch, it'll still.
Luca, this is a bottle of pre-war scotch. Watch as I cut the bottle with this knife. That's why he stabs him, because he's not interested in buying the knife.
Wow, or if that was his last thing to really say, I'm going to show you how good these knives are. Chunk.
Actually, Sollozzo is trying to sell the knives to Bruno Tattaglia.
He's just like a demonstration model.
Yeah, before Luca comes in, is Sollozzo and Bruno doing business. And Sollozzo's like, you grab his hand and I'll show you how great this one knife is. But you got to offer him pre-war scotch.
Have a strangler standing by just in case. Yeah. I think you have to.
The garrote was the bonus item you get when you buy the knife set.
Yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you would have to be, if you're good with a knife in a culture that uses guns, I think you have to be really good with it.
Yeah.
To be able to stand out as being good with a knife.
Yeah.
It's like someone's like a baseball player saying, I only hit with a wooden bat. Or no, that's the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what's something where people only use an old-fashioned way of doing it?
Like a typewriter.
A typewriter. There you go. He's like a classy guy with his... goes to his study and drinks drinks pre-war scotch and takes out his knives.
It kind of speaks to Sollozzo. It's interesting because knife seems like an old school weapon in this world because now you've got Tommy gun, automatic weapons, basically.
Yeah.
But then that's how Sonny dies. Yet Sollozzo, Sonny's going to die.
What?
By spoiler. But Sollozzo uses a knife. It's ironic because it's an old weapon, yet Sollozzo represents the future of organized crime.
Interesting.
Drugs.
He's like a hipster. He purposely uses like old school kind of things.
It's actually a knife gun. It's like got a round in there.
I wonder if where he's from, we're in the United States where guns are cheap and plentiful, but I wonder if because he was from Sicily, although he's part Turkish, I wonder if where he was, guns were less accessible. So people had to become good at other, he's a club man or other kind of skills because people couldn't just pull a trigger. Anyone could do that.
Yeah.
Doesn't take skill.
He's a pro with a blackjack.
A blackjack.
It's all like Dungeons and Dragons weapons. Oh, he's great with a lance. He's all, that's right, because Italy, the Mediterranean was the home to medieval times, right?
Yeah. Speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, although before it will remind me of Dungeons and Dragons, we'll just get it out of the way. But, we were going to talk about some of that in the bonus content.
Yes,
correct?
Definitely. Yeah,
we were going to classify all the characters as what would they be in Dungeons and Dragons? What would their stats be?
What character classes would they be? Alignments.
Totally.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Are any D&D nerds out there? Give me a yeah. Come on, any D&D nerds listening in the car or at work right now? Give me a yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
A couple of them out there. Stay tuned for the bonus content. Or if you aren't already a supporter of the show, go to godfatherminute.com/support. And you too can get, I'd say, what do we add? Like at least 15 minutes per show.
Oh, at least.
But sometimes more.
Yeah, usually like 17 minutes.
So the other story I was going to tell was that one time I was with Tony Consiglio, or one of our guests, speaking of the bonus content, and his brother told him, when you're going to New York, get me some brass knuckles.
Oh, really?
And Tony's like, where am I going to get brass knuckles from?
Yeah.
And so Tony's brother sent us to go down to Chinatown.
Oh, wow.
And so like a bunch of two dummies were like walking around and Tony's saying like, do you have brass knuckles? And like asking
going into like markets?
Yeah.
Where is he going? What kind of shops?
Like down in Chinatown, there's all like those like
knick-knack stores,
junky knick-knack stores or, and one guy was like, we don't sell brass knuckles in Chinatown. Like you put like a pause in it. They were like, "Is he trying to tell us like to go like he knows someone else who will do it?"
Up.
Yeah. So anyway, we never got the brass knuckles.
Did you think you were wired or something?
Maybe.
That's really funny.
So anyway.
Are they illegal where he was? Are they illegal all over the U.S.?
It's
Probably, right?
We asked.
We are going to
have to answer that too.
I always thought you could order them on the backs of magazines.
I feel like it's something you used to see in shops like in Greenwich Village and stuff. Like there'd be all like bongs and all sorts of, and then there'd be like fancy lighters, and then there'd be stuff like brass knuckles.
all those shops downtown. Isn't it funny? Whenever I'd go into those shops, just walking around window shopping, I was always struck by how those two worlds collided in those kinds of shops. So you had all the peaceful, the bongs and lighters and hippie stuff, but yet in the next aisle or even sharing a display booth, you had spikes and
Chinese stars.
I swear there were brass knuckles for sale. It always struck me how it's sort of both left and right or fringes outside the mainstream.
Well, yeah, I guess
culture,
the commonality was they were all like quasi legal,
Yeah.
So they were like that's the uniting factor is that right, left, everyone can agree that sometimes it's good to break the law.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess that's what the dark web is for now. You could probably get all that stuff online.
That's true. You can get for pennies now.
Wow.
Totally undercut the small brass knuckle proprietor.
Hey, can you ask Tony to go on the dark web and get me some brass knuckles?
I'll ask him. All right.
But only from a Chinese distributor.
I'll ask and he'll answer. All right, so I guess that'll wrap up minute 44.
Very good.
And
stick around for the bonus content.
Stick around for the bonus content. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter at Godfather Minute, and we're on the Facebook too. And of course, there's Fredo Corleone's Mickey Mouse Nightclub over there on the Facebook. Come join the conversation, and that's where you get treated with respect. Is that what it was?
Yeah, where you do the stepping over.
Is that what it is?
It's something like that.
That's
on the menu.
That's on the menu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but at the bottom of your bill, it says you're smart.
Oh, that's
you're smart.
And then right where it tells you what the percentages are for tips, it says you're smart. Like while it's doing the math for you.
When you're a waiter or waitress.
Oh, totally.
When they give you the check, they're very positive because they want you to give a good tip. Yeah. So what do the waiters and the waitresses at Fredo Corleone's Mickey Mouse Nightclub say right when they hand you the bill? They say like, you're smart, not like everyone says.
Yeah, that seems a bit defensive.
To say not like everyone says. Well, remember,
also just to open with that, be like, you're smart, not like everyone says.
Well, remember, these are people with really low self-esteem going
that's true.
The nightclub.
That's a good question. Maybe it would be something like, it would be something where you let that person know that they're the smartest one in the club. Not like the rest of these guys. We're glad you came because you really are smart. Not like the rest of these guys. Yeah, like that to make them feel like they're really the exception.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe when they come and they give you the dinner menu, they say, "Hey, look at this dinner menu. There's something in it for you." Try to add the lines everywhere.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, enough of that.
Yeah, so, all right, so until we come back next week,
leave the gun and take the cannoli.